I had the zeros and the commas in the bank account, but I was miserable inside. A few years back during COVID, really was taking a good hard look at who I am and what I want to be when I grow up. And I've made decisions throughout my life to make a decision. Hey, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to try to get, rich quick doing this. And they've never brought happiness or peace. I was stuck. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I wasn't sleeping well. I was gaining weight. I was unhappy. And it's through this journey that I kind of realized that if I take care of myself first, like when you're on an airplane, you put your mask on first, then help the person next to you. If I don't have my health and my wellness mentally, spiritually, physically taken care of, how am I going to be the husband, the father, the leader that my family needs to be? How am I going to be effective at work? And so I really made a huge transition in my life, and I'm so happy. I'm at peace. I sleep at night. I sleep well. My kids say I fall asleep anywhere and everywhere. And they're like, Dad, it's kind of embarrassing but I don't have concerns. I don't let those things weigh me down and bog me, because I'm no longer chasing a dollar. And then all of the wealth and all that just follows me now, which I'm so grateful for.
John Bates.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Welcome to the Generational Health Podcast, your episode number 3.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, of course.
You look great. What have you been doing?
Just trying to eat right and trying to exercise. Not perfect by any means. Just the normal grind.
Dude, it's super impressive what you got going on here.
Like physically?
Physically, the balance between
so nice.
Starting a company. I've known you for a long time, man, and watching kind of the evolution. It's been awesome. Proud of you.
I feel like you're trying to make me blush, John.
The lighting in here, that's what's really doing it. It's the lighting.
Look, you're a good friend of mine, and I wanted to have you come in here as one of my first, at least first 10, but now you're top 5, which is amazing.
Dude, that's freaking awesome.
For a couple of reasons. One, because, you're a good buddy of mine, and we've had a lot of like personal experiences together, and shared a lot of like fun moments together, holidays and stuff that you've invited us to, even though we've only known each other for, how many years now?
When Benny was born.
Okay. So, Benny is turning 6. So it's not like that long, but I feel like we've had a lot of cool family experiences. But along the way, you've had some just really unique life experiences pop up. You're a health conscious individual. You happen to be a patient at Hiva Health. Yep. And so we can talk about really whatever you want to, but I just thought you'd be a really fun, interesting guest that people can learn from, and just get a feel for some of the unique stories that you have to share. So that being said, maybe just take a minute and introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about your family, and then maybe a little background on what you do for work.
Sure. Yeah.
And how you got there, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, man. John Bates. I am a native of Central Pennsylvania, grew up at State College, Pennsylvania, literally 7 minutes from Beaver Stadium. Penn State football, huge, really, really important. And I used to sell newspapers to the people tailgating before the game. And then at game time, I'd go in and sell hot chocolate up and down. Really had an entrepreneur spirit. Had a paper route from the age of, I was 10 years old with a paper route, bussing tables at 15, but always working. Moved out here to Arizona in 1995. And we don't have to shovel sunshine, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Met my wife. We have 4 kids. Ages 22 down to 12. We're a very active family. We love the outdoors, love going to the lake. My kids are amazing wake surfers. I'm not so much. You've seen me.
You're pretty dang good.
I can get up, but it's nothing like Ty and Hannah and the kids. They're really, really good. But so I've been out here, and I've really just kind of enjoyed the Arizona lifestyle, and getting able to go do like a trail run. Yesterday I did a 9-mile trail run out at Usery Park, and then come home, be able to jump in the pool and rinse off. I mean, come on, that's Arizona.
Yeah, that's great.
Doesn't get any more Arizona than that. For work, I'm a professional salesman. That's what I do. I'm proud of it. It's the oldest profession next to prostitution. Getting out, getting out there and selling, baby. For 17 years, I was in the med device space. I did everything from orthopedics, total joints, and trauma, spine, all the way into interventional cardiology, interventional radiology. And
I feel like you never pass up an opportunity to talk about vaginal rejuvenation at a restaurant in front of people in an effort to just try to embarrass those around you.
Sir, that is one of the things that I think drives my family crazy, is that I have this weird sense of humor. And I think it's that I'm bored and I like to make other people feel uncomfortable because it's how I entertain myself. You know this, your followers may not, but I also do stand up. And so a lot of my stand-up routine, I just performed 2 weeks ago up at the Desert Ridge Improv. What I love to do is I do observational comedy, things that I've done and said to get a reaction. And then I report on during my stand-up on people's reaction to the stupid things that I say.
Well, you do know how to provoke a good response.
Yes, sir.
So I've been around it a few times. Anyway, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah. So I from a med device rep all the way up to the vice president of sales. And then a few years back during COVID, really was taking a good hard look at who I am and what I want to be when I grow up. And I've made decisions throughout my life several times, which I've regretted based on money, to make a decision. Hey, I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to try to get rich quick doing this. And they've never brought happiness or peace. And I met a gentleman, he and his wife were actually moving into the neighborhood, and I was on my way to the gym. I was on my way to go lift, and I saw they were unloading a moving van and they were struggling. And I just pulled over and said, hey, can I help? I'm your neighbor. I live 8 houses down. And the guy's like, what do you want? Who are you? What is it that you want? I'm like, no, nothing. I'm just literally, would you like help moving your couches? I'm your neighbor. And that turned into a friendship. And I now am an owner of Amplified Wireless Solutions. We're in the commercial construction space, fire life safety. I'm the director of pre-construction for the company and one of the owners. We'll do about $55 million this year. And I have projects going in Honolulu, all the way to Florence, South Carolina, and everything in between. Since I've come on board, we've opened an office in Seattle, officially Phoenix, and now in Dallas. And we have offices in Portland and LA.
That's awesome, man.
It's been kind of a fun journey, and I've gotten to know you. You've seen through that whole evolution.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a change, right? I mean, you're very open about being a salesperson. Yep. You're very good at it. You've got a lot of energy. And you know how to tell stories, which is
Sales
very
is
good.
About telling stories.
What was that?
Sales is all about telling stories. People buy from those that are entertained. And so being able to weave together, it's just like what we're doing today. We're telling a story, right? About health, optimizing your health, being resilient. How do you overcome adversity? How do you change your life, right? And that was part of my journey. I was stuck. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I wasn't sleeping well. I was gaining weight. I was unhappy. I had the zeros and the commas in the bank account, but I was miserable inside. And it's through this journey that I kind of realized that if I take care of myself first, like when you're on an airplane and they tell you, hey, put your mask on first. Sorry, you put your mask on first, then help the person next to you. If I don't have my health and my wellness mentally, spiritually, physically taken care of, how am I going to be the husband, the father, the leader that my family needs to be? How am I going to be effective at work? And so I really made a huge transition in my life, and I'm so happy. I'm at peace. I sleep at night. I sleep well. My kids say I fall asleep anywhere and everywhere. And they're like, Dad, it's kind of embarrassing but I don't have concerns. I don't let those things weigh me down and bog me, because I'm no longer chasing a dollar. And then all of the wealth and all that just follows me now, which I'm so grateful for.
So maybe let's go back in time a little bit. I'm just curious whether growing up in Pennsylvania or here, at what point would you say there was any moments or defining moments that you would say really helped you put health first in your life, or made you focus on it becoming more of a personal ambition for you?
Dude, I can tell you the year and the date. It was February of 2000. I'm sorry, February of 99. My father had a heart attack. Now, my dad had always is my hero. He would get hardworking man, aerospace engineer, works very hard, and every evening he would go for a run. Sometimes early morning he'd go for a run. So I thought my dad was the pillar of health. Lo and behold, coronary artery disease runs in our family. And I remember getting the phone call from my mom, and I'll try not to get emotional and cry. Hey, John, Dad's had a heart attack. He had triple bypass surgery. He's at Banner Desert. How quickly can you get there? And I remember seeing my dad, and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, Dad, you work out, you run. And believe it or not, it was his running that saved his life, because he had the widowmaker. You know, his left coronary artery, his right coronary artery, both were fully occluded. He ended up having triple bypasses, take a saphenous vein graft out of his leg, and create new pathways for the heart to receive blood. You know, the heart pumps blood, but it also needs blood itself. And so they take a graft and take oxygenated rich blood and feed that back into the heart tissue so that the heart tissue can stay alive, which would then pump and keep the rest of the body alive. That's when I started to take initially a closer look at my health and saying, hey, okay, all right, this runs in my family. They wanted, at an early age, I wasn't even 30 years old, and they wanted to put me on statins. Hey, your body, your family has high cholesterol, has too much of the high, too little of the good, and we need you to be on this in order to extend your life. So I just started popping pills because I went to my doctor and that's what they said I was supposed to do. I didn't realize how crappy I would feel. And for 10 years, feeling awful and not being able to understand what is causing all of this problem. The weight gain, I would work out. I wouldn't see the results. I truly wasn't happy with it.
Man, I think this is a common problem. I think there's a lot of people out there that end up just feeling, you were proactive. I mean, you had this really traumatic experience with your dad.
Yep.
It sounds serious enough. You probably thought there were risk of losing him at some point.
Yep.
And I know how close you are with him, and he's an amazing guy. So you take action and you try to get ahead of it, and you start getting prescribed stuff.
Yep.
I think this is very common. I personally believe that there is people are being overprescribed everything right now.
Yep.
And I've always been a minimalist in that regard, meaning that like these things should be there for tools and to help with quality of life and enhancing and life extending, if you will. And I think that these doctors, that's their intent. I don't think that there's malintent there by any means. But I think you found yourself in a situation where you start questioning, and you're like, is this necessary? Am I going about this the right way? Am I truly optimizing my health as a 30-year-old being on statins?
I want to tell you when it actually hit me, because it was about 11 years later. All right. Now, as a medical device rep in the interventional cardiology space, right, selling the instruments that are used in the cardiac cath lab to save patients' lives that are having heart attacks, stents, balloons, that stuff. It was December 23rd of 2012. I was out making visits at a hospital, at Arrowhead Hospital out on the west side of Arizona. And my mom, I got the call, John, that's what my mom calls me. John, Dad's had a heart attack. They've rushed him to Chandler Regional. How quickly can you get there? So for me, as a med device rep, I know exactly what's going on at this point. I go run into the hospital. I scrub in. I go up to the cath lab. There's my dad laying on the table. There's Dr. Deeb, very good family friend. There is all of my instrumentation on the table that I have sold into that hospital that is now being used to save my dad's life. Doctor looks at me and says, "Hey, John, we've got your dad. Why don't you go take care of your mom in the ER?" Because they realize at that point, what am I going to do? Can I, the sale's done, the packet's opened, they're putting it in my dad regardless, right? And my paradigm shifted a little bit about what my role was as far as my employment was. But I thought, it's been 11 years, Dad, and this is happening again. Like you haven't made it, you're on all the drugs the doctors have told you to be on, all the blood thinners, all the statins. I mean, you're doing everything that they are telling you to, but yet your body is still saying no. So why haven't you made the change in your life? And it was at that point, that's when I really started, I started changing what I was doing and the way I was working out. And I got really big into mountain biking. I freaking loved mountain biking. I loved ripping it. They're saying if you're not crashing, then you're not actually riding hard enough. You know what I mean? And we've got nice granite out here. It just tears up your arms. Funny story. For anyone that mountain bikes and is cut up and needs to wear a white shirt to church on Sunday, we would use to saran wrap our forearms so that we could put a white shirt on and it wouldn't bleed through. Gosh. But yeah, man, that was really, it was that experience following my dad's initial heart attack that made me go, there's something broken with the system, because you're trying to treat my dad and he's doing everything that you're telling him to do. But here we are in the same situation again. Now, my dad's 85 today. He's 85 right now. He's still alive with us. He's outlived his father. He's outlived everyone in his family, brother, sister have deceased. And we call him the Energizer Bunny because one day we know that his heart will stop. But he's had, I think, 10 stents placed in his heart. He's had multiple angiograms, angioplasties. They've stented him. They've tried to do everything they can. He just had one last month, and now they've said, there's no more we can do. There's no more space. There's no more room in your heart for us to put any more hardware. So whatever happens going forward. I've been able to have my last conversations with him several times, several visits in the ER. And I'm at peace with it, but something has to change. And I have taken full control of my life now and my health, and I'm no longer going to allow somebody else. In fact, can I share? I don't know if I can share this right now, but I've been on a health journey the last 5 weeks. Today was weigh-in for me. I'm now down 17 pounds. I've got 5 more pounds to go. I want to be sub 200. So when I run my marathon in August, I want to be 199. The last time I ran it, I was 226. So I'm excited to see what it feels like to actually run 20 something pounds lighter than and what my time will be. So I'm so excited for that. But through optimizing my health, right? Getting rid of the bad stuff. I'm completely off of all pharmaceuticals. My blood pressure is better now off blood pressure medication than it was when it was on it, which is crazy. And that's just through dieting, exercising, proper supplements, having my body hormones regulated properly, having regular blood work done so I know what my levels are, and then working with a team that is able to actually identify what my body needs and giving me what I need. There's no more sitting around saying, hey, it's okay to feel that. That's just normal. You're 47. It's okay. That's how a 47-year-old's supposed to feel. Screw that, man. I mean, we've got like robots and AI and all this stuff doing. Why can't we engineer the body to last longer?
Well, you got to this point, which is awesome. And I want to congratulate you for that, because it takes a lot of work. I mean, these lifestyle changes and things you're doing, it's awesome to hear that you've been able to get off some of those pharmaceuticals that you feel like you've been dependent on for a long time. However, I think your journey is actually tougher than you've opened up about so far. Yeah. And that's because you talked about biking and the accidents. Yeah. Well, you had a really bad one.
I did.
that you didn't bring up. And how most people, I think speaking of storytelling, I want you to tell that story. Yeah. Because most people, I think, that have had accidents like this, or that would potentially have an accident like this, probably wouldn't be back doing the things you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And there's a big mindset to that I want to get into. So if you don't mind, I would love to hear about this bike accident that you had. Remind me what year it was. I think this was close to about the time that we met.
Yeah. Because your boys thought I was attacked by a shark.
Well, they thought you were attacked by a shark, and I wanted to go mountain biking, and you got rid of yours for good reason. So anyway,
yeah, man.
Love to hear that.
So I had done the barn burner up in Flagstaff, and I had qualified for Leadville, which is a 100-mile race in Colorado. So I was training, and to do that, I got to put a lot of miles in on my bike. Mm-hmm. I had just got my bike back from the shop, fresh tires, fresh brakes, everything had been serviced. And while I was riding, I had a prompting or a feeling that said, hey, you should probably adjust your brakes. You probably need to remove some of the air on your tire. Mm. And I said, you know what, I'll do it on the next lap. Well, I'm racing. I'm going 22 miles an hour down a line, and things aren't exactly dialed in the way I need them to be. And when I load a tire to make a turn, hit my front brake was too sensitive. I endoed, hit a rock, went down a cliff about 25 feet. Mm. And when I woke up, I was upside down and my femur was sticking out of my leg. Mm. Out in the desert by myself, 3:00 in the afternoon, alone. Utterly alone.
So your femur is sticking out of your leg, which
yes.
is incredibly graphic. What are you saying to yourself in this moment?
What did I just do? and I'm trying to get up because I'm upside down. I'm head down, legs up, what's called the Trendelenburg position. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I had been knocked unconscious. And luckily, the position that I ended up in is the position that they would put you in if you were having shock, right? Mm. They elevate your legs in order to keep your blood to your head. If I had fallen in another position, I may not have regained consciousness. Mm. So after being out there for a while, I was able to, back in the day, your earphones used to be attached to a cord. They're not like the kind
back in the day.
Back in the day, like that. Yeah. I can now say that old timey story. My helmet was off, but my ear thingy was stuck in. And so I had hit it, and I asked for help to call 911. And the lady came on, and they triangulated my position, and it was an hour and a half maybe later. I hear people calling my name, and the firefighters from Mesa came down, got me, loaded me up, and hauled me away. I coded twice, once in the ambulance, and I coded once in the operating room.
Can you explain what that means?
It means my heart stopped. So I had enough blood, due to drop in blood pressure, your heart just
was your wife Allie there?
No, I was by myself. So I'm transporting by myself, and they met me at the hospital. They were able to call. So Allison was there. My brothers were there. Funny stories, but we won't get into that here. But my brothers were there.
Did they explain to your family that you had coded?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they've talked to you about that. I'm curious what they were all thinking, sitting and waiting for you at the hospital.
The dynamic in my family is, dude, you're an idiot. Like, what were you doing out there by yourself? We knew you were going to get hurt. Why are you doing this stuff? And
right.
So there's some compassion, of course, concern. I can say that my bike was sold while I was in the hospital. I was hospitalized for a week. Major surgery, 5.5 hour surgery. I have video of the first time I stood up to walk. Very traumatic. Remember, I did orthopedic trauma for a number of years, so I knew what I needed. And the folks at Banner Desert did a great job of putting me back together, great treatment. But I was non-weight bearing for 6 months, meaning I could not walk on it. Depression is real. You go from being an athlete where you are able to work out every single day, and now you need help getting on and off the toilet. A lot of dramatic experiences. I learned a lot about humility. I learned a lot about faith. I developed a little saying that annoys people, but I have two things I know now for certain in my life, and then a lot of things that I believe. You want to know what I know for certain?
I do.
I know there's a God, and 2, I know I'm not him. Then I have a lot of beliefs. Mm-hmm. And I felt a presence from the other side, comfort. There were some very dramatic experiences of individuals feeling inspired to come visit me at the right time, whether it was through some depression, or there was one evening, it was Easter, I was stuck. My family had left me and I was stuck on a chair. And when they left, it was bright outside. And it was now 7:30 and it was dark and I was in the house all alone and I couldn't get up. And so I'm in the complete darkness. And a friend, an associate, someone that I hadn't talked to in a long time, he said he was having family dinner and he felt an impression that he needed to go see John Bates. He did not know about my accident. And I'm sitting in this little chair and I'm stuck and I'm feeling sorry for myself. And there's this knock on my front door. And for some reason, my front door was unlocked and it opens and Greg pushes the door open and says, "John, are you home?" And I said, "Who is it? I'm in here. I need help." He's like, "Why are you sitting in the dark? It's Greg." I go, "I can't get out of my chair." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I was in an accident." And he came in and he sat with me. Mm. So I know that people are inspired. And one of the things I've really tried to take into my life that through these experiences is to live my life in a way that I can be used to bless other people. And so what was so transformative about my accident was kind of the armor was stripped off me. I was forced to be humble. I was forced to depend on other people. And in turn, I want to be able to do that for others too. So trying to live in a way that I can be helpful has been a very important thing to me.
Well, I've seen it firsthand.
No, thanks.
You've been a blessing to me and to my kids and to my wife and our family. I know you've had, man, there's so much to unwrap with the accident and recovery, which I want to get to, but on this note, if you're cool with it, I would love to talk about, now that you've been given this chance to live your life in a way to be available, to serve and to help other people. Not very long ago, I mean, you're an avid, you like going to the lake with your family, and you had another traumatic experience come upon you at the lake.
Oh, bro, that was,
which is,
are you trying to make me cry? You get clicks if you get cries on here?
No, it has nothing to do with that. We might only get one person that watches this, and it might just be me. But for me, documenting these types of things are important because there's a lot that we can learn from it. But
yeah, man, that was crazy. So it was July 3rd. So 3-4 times a week we're at the lake. We're on the water by 5 a.m. in the summer. I have it in my calendar called a board meeting, so that 5 to 7 a.m. is blocked out. It's so my kids and I can have time together, because I realize I only get to parent children for 18 years. After that, they're adults, and so what's done is done. And so I'm trying to create a time with them to where, and a boat is forced family time. They are stuck on that stupid boat with you. They're not going anywhere. And so I make myself available to my kids. It was July 3rd, it'll be 2021. So post-COVID, the year after COVID. And my son had just graduated high school, and we were on the water, 6 o'clock in the morning. He had 3 of his buddies on the boat with us. And when you're surfing, you've got your music loud, you're having a great time. And when someone wipes out, I always turn the music off so that I can ask them, "How's the wave? Do you need it taller? Do you need it longer? Do we need to go faster?" I try to really dial it in for the kids. And one of the young men started saying, "Hey, Father John," that's what they call me, "Father John, something's wrong over there." And I said, "What?" He goes, "They're screaming." And so I told Braden, "Get in the boat." So we start making a beeline across the lake towards this boat. And as I'm driving, you see it from a distance. Father's standing on the swim platform, holding a lifeless little girl. She's purple. No, one thing I got my EMT years ago because I just wanted to be available to help people. And I went to school and got it. Just never was a professional EMT, but I got certified in the state of Arizona to be able to perform emergency medical care, something I wanted to do. And so as I'm driving the boat there, my son said, "What are you going to do, Dad?" And I said, "Ty, take the wheel. I'm going to pray and I'm going to go to work." And he pulled up alongside that boat and I jumped out and I grabbed that little girl and immediately identified what was wrong. She had succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning, fallen face first in the water, and had drowned. Through many miraculous experiences, everything from being instructed, audibly instructed from the other side, voice from the other side, giving me instructions on how to perform pediatric CPR. There was a person standing next to me giving me instructions. Riley is alive today. We were able to get back to the dock. And as we were getting closer, I looked up to the heavens and I said, "What do I do now?" As I'm working on this little girl. And the voice said, "Get off the boat now." So I said, "I have to get off the dock immediately." I jumped out of the boat, jumped onto the dock, and I yelled, "Help." Didn't know what else to do. Just instinctively, I just yelled, "Help," while I'm holding this girl in my arms, right? And because I'd been working on it for about 11 minutes, because we're on the backside of Saguaro to the front, right? It's a long haul on a boat. Just then, a boat was about to leave, and the guy stopped and he said, "I'm a pediatric surgeon. What do you need?" And I said, "I have a 5-year-old child, not breathing. I need help, CPR." And so he jumped on the dock. As he helped me, 2 other people came running, one saying, "I'm a sheriff's officer," and his wife is a pediatric nurse. You want to talk about the other side, like coordinating things. Amazing experience, changed my life, changed my sons, the young men that were on the boat, all different faiths. They had all prayed together that she would live. And we had just an amazing reunion when they showed up at my house. I didn't even know they were there. They found my name and information, and they showed up to say thank you. And they've been a part of our lives, which has just been awesome.
So it's hard for me not to put myself in the shoes of that dad, you know?
Yeah.
But I wonder in that moment when he saw all of you come together and step up to save his daughter, you know, in that moment, what he was thinking, you know, and what was most important at that time, you know, is it?
The crazy thing is that Brian, the father's name, he is CPR certified. He has a profession where he is trained, but you don't know how you're going to react when it is your child, right? It's okay. It's easy to work on a stranger. Many accidents I've been involved in, I've seen a lot. But if it's your own child, how are you going to respond? And I think the most important thing is that we need to live our lives in a way that we can be used so that we could be an answer to somebody else's prayer. God could send down a whole host of people and fix the problem. But more times than not, he's going to give you, me, anybody else an opportunity to be blessed by helping other people. And I have found that it's through those blessings that my life has really become the richest.
So getting back to mental resilience, which is mental health, physical resilience, emotional resilience, spiritual resilience, whatever that means. Everyone has different, doesn't matter what faith you are, but having some sense of purpose. How important is health in making you available?
Colby, it is our responsibility as husbands, as fathers, as men, if we've been assigned, put in front to lead a family, to lead a business, we have to be at our optimal health. We have to be clearly, to be able to think clearly. We need to be able to respond physically. We can't, look, you can't fake it. You're either healthy or you're not. It will catch up with you. I remember when, after my mountain biking accident, I was going through physical therapy, and it was traumatic. I blew my femur to pieces, bro. I mean, it was bad. Mm-hmm. It still hurts to this day. It hurts every day when I work out. It's there. It's a constant reminder that I have this. But I remember my physical therapist, I was struggling, and my physical therapist goes, "Hey, John, you may just have to accept that this is the new norm." And I looked at him and I said, "F you." I said, "I'm paying you a crap ton of money to get me back. It's like, if you're not going to be on my team with the right attitude, find somebody else." And he looked at me and he goes, "Is that what you want?" I said, "Yeah, I want you to push me so that I can go back and ride if I want to again." From that point, it was work hard, work hard, work hard. I had a goal. I wanted to be able to squat 400 pounds again. Dude, I did it. Through that journey, I also was able, I wanted to bench 315. I got it. I did those things because I wasn't going to let that situation define me, because if I did that, how was I going to be the type of man, the husband, the father, when I'm like, "Hey guys, when going gets tough, it's okay just to accept it." To accept, I guess this is the new norm. No, take control. There's no reason that we have to accept mediocrity anymore. There's too much technology. There's too much science that says, dude, you can be the best version of yourself, but it's just going to take a little bit of work. And if you put the right team behind you with the right science, dude, you can have an amazing life, regardless of what hand you've been dealt.
That's awesome, man. And clearly you are, you're mentally very strong and resilient. There's a lot of people out there, I think, that are struggling and probably have been for a long time. They don't feel maybe worthy of it. Mm-hmm. I think sometimes there's people that just feel like it's too selfish to focus on themselves, mm-hmm. and to be that strong and to work out and to go to the gym and to take care of themselves. They're constantly taking care of other people. There's a huge chunk of the population that is stuck.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, from your perspective and the things that you've experienced and gone through, what advice would you have for someone that's just feeling like, I just don't think I can do it?
If my father had not have been a runner and made the decision to get up a few minutes earlier each day to run, or to come home and lace him up and go run, when he had his heart attack at 54, he'd be dead. I would not be celebrating my dad's 86th birthday this year. So it's more selfish to not work out, to not take care of yourself, to be lazy, than it is to put aside a few minutes a day to make sure you're taking care of yourself. What I have found that is when I'm the most uncomfortable, that's when I'm having the most fun. Mentally, there's something stimulating about getting into 37 degrees, an ice bath, when it sucks and you don't want to do it in the winter and it's dark outside and you're on your porch by yourself and you're like, nobody would know. No one's going to know if I'm getting in or not, right? Mm-hmm. There's no one to watch you do it.
Holding you accountable.
But you do it because it will make you better. It will make you tougher. And I think we've got a real problem. And there's a shift going, I think, recorrection back to better health. But for the longest time it's okay, just accept who you are. Everyone accept who you are. No. Like, if you truly know who you are, and if you know what your divine potential is, wouldn't you stop at nothing in order to achieve that?
I think there's a lot of good religious leaders that have talked through this, but it's not so much about who you are, it's who you can become, right? And I think if we sit and focus on who we are right now, yes, you should love who you are, but you should be focused on who you can become.
Yes.
And that's what we should be working towards every day, is progress, not perfection, but progress, and really trying to see ourselves as the people that we can become, the dads we can become, the parents, the whatever, mentors. Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. It's tough. I see people, I've got personal family members and others that have dealt with different health challenges throughout my life. And I don't know, it's tough. You want to inspire people and try to help people really like take that step. But I've always tried to mention that you are worthy of it, and it's not selfish.
Right.
Like,
it's more selfish to not take care of yourself.
Every day is such a blessing.
Lazy is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Lazy is easy. Eating like Easter. Freaking love Easter. The food is so good. Carrot cake, amazing. Had a slice of carrot cake. I looked at it and go, all right, man, I have a goal. I can have 4 bites. Those 4 bites are not going to affect my goal, right? So I'm able to participate, but in moderation, right? Because I knew what my end goal is, which is got to get down to 199.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be sub 2 by August 6th. If I could be sub 2 by August 6th, bro, I'm going to be so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have so many kills on that marathon. Everybody will be checking them off. Boom, boom, boom. That's what I want. I want to be the best version of myself. And I really think it's selfish when people just choose to be lazy. And yeah.
So let me ask you a question. You mentioned that with kids, you have 18 years to parent.
Yep.
You've got a couple that are now past their high school years, one married, and your kids are amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
I love your kids, and they're like some of the best looking individuals.
Well, you're Uncle Colby and Aunt Steph. So,
these are some amazing kids. I'm curious, as you look at like yourself now and all the things you've learned, whether it's health, like all the aspects of health. I don't just want to stick to just like your physical health, but a lot of I very much believe that mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, it's all related. They all work together in tandem to help us be a healthy person. What advice would you give your 10-year-old self? If you could go back to John Bates, little 10-year-old, I don't know what mischievous things you were up to back when you were 10.
Ask Bronnie Potter out. That would have been my, that would have been
I don't even want to know what was going on.
That was my girl, like a girl I had a crush on in kindergarten.
What advice would you give yourself at 10 going into adolescence with your whole life ahead of you, knowing what you know now? What's like a piece of advice you'd throw at yourself?
Man, I think when you're young, you don't have the perspective, like you want instant gratification right now. Man, I would have been a beast if I had hit the gym more. If I had just done the workouts, you go back and, I could have thrown that football over a mountain. You remember, Napoleon Dynamite? If you could have just take the knowledge from nutrition to the work ethic and just the smarts and how it'll pay off. I was scared to go to the gym, Colby, in high school because there were kids that were bigger and stronger than me, and I felt intimidated. And what a horrible thing to think or feel, right? Because if you're overweight, where should you be? In the gym. If you're weak, where should you be? In the gym. If you want to get better, where should you be? In the gym. And I allowed fear, which was not substantiated, but it was just all mental, to prevent me from really exploring what I've come to love, which is exercising. So I think telling my 10-year-old self, or I have a 12-year-old daughter, incentivizing her to continue to chase her passion and to work out regularly and finding ways to work out with my kids. Now my boys love golf. Dude, there's nothing better than playing around a golf with your kids. It's fun getting them out there hitting balls.
So yeah, I was typing up a couple things here just because you made me think about investing. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like if you go back to your 10-year-old self or even your 20-year-old self, and you started putting a little bit of money away at that time in your life, right? We all look back and we think, man, if I would have done this, if I would have put money in Amazon back when it was nothing, and if I would have put money in Apple when it was nothing,
time machine, I go back and buy Apple.
So investing is really about doing a little bit over a long period of time. And I think our health is the same. Sometimes I think people wait until something happens. There's some life event that happens. They have a heart attack. They have something, whatever it is, that there's a life-changing event where they're like, crap, I need to be present. I need to be here as a dad. I want to experience these things. So it's a life-changing event. But I think some people forget that health is an investment. Mm-hmm. And if you do a little bit of it over a long period of time, it compounds deep into the future. And one thing that I've brought up on other things that we've done is the work that you're doing right now, John. So like getting down to below 200 and training for these events and strengthening yourself and, just getting metabolically healthier. Yep. What you're doing today, it makes you look awesome right now. Yeah, like you look great. Yeah. And it allows you to perform and do all these things that you want to do. But really what you're doing is you're building a protective layer deep into the future, because that muscle is what's going to allow you to live a long time. Mm-hmm. That muscle is the primary source of glucose disposal. Mm-hmm. So it allows you to regulate your blood sugar, allows your heart to be healthier. So a lot of times people think they're overweight, but really they're just under muscled possibly. Yeah. And so like the things you're doing today are really what you're doing is investing in something that for when you need it, when you're in your 70s and 80s. Because what happens is people neglect it for so long and then it's not there when they need it. Just like a retirement account, right? Like it takes a long time to build up that retirement account with a little bit at a time. And that's why we named this the Generational Health Podcast, because it ties in with generational wealth. So many people are stuck on money, mm-hmm. right? And it's a good thing. Like there's so much good that can come from money. There's a lot of security that comes from it. You brought that up earlier, like kind of your focus was money driven versus other things. And so we get pretty good at building wealth, but we kind of tend to do it at the expense of health. And you see so many of these individuals that end up building these amazing companies and careers retire only to have nothing in retirement because their bodies aren't there for them when they need it.
Imagine having all the money in the world and you can't do anything with it. You can't physically, because you can't get out of bed or out of a wheelchair.
That's the whole point, right? It's like nothing matters if you don't have your health. Nothing matters. When you're driving to the hospital to see your dad, wondering if you're going to see him again, nothing matters except for that moment of him being alive.
It's interesting because it's never too late to start. Mm-hmm. I remember while I was sitting on my front porch, leg busted up, I had the stupid walker, and I said, okay, today I'm going to try to get to the sidewalk. So the journey always starts with the first step, right? Or single mm-hmm. step, whatever that phrase is. And so for someone who's like, dude, where do I get started? It starts with your first step.
Yep.
Make a goal, walk to the mailbox. If you want to run a marathon, well, you got to learn how to run 1 mile first. We'll learn how to walk a mile, then run it, and then increase and slowly. So your health, you get one body. So start with making a change. That change could be I want to go to bed an hour earlier, or I want to get up an hour earlier. And during that time, or I'm going to cut out a little bit of television, and during that time, I'm going to go for a walk. I mean, it can be a simple little thing that will start to compound. And as you are able to do that task, or you've made that little minor change in your life, then you can make another change and another change. And then you become a part of the 4:15 club of getting up in the morning. I heard a thing people like, oh, it's not a badge of honor to say you got up at 4:15. Screw that, man. You kidding me? You're up before everybody else. You're getting your workout in. You're home and you have the entire day ahead of you, which is phenomenal. Sucks that we go to sleep at 9 o'clock, but hey, it's all good.
I was going to say, it's great as long as you get your enough sleep in at night. No, but man, I think you made a very good point though. I think it's never too late to start. It's never too late to build muscle. No. I mean, there are studies shown that you can build muscle deep into your 70s, 80s. Like you can still build or retain.
Look at RFK Jr. That dude is so he's jacked.
Yeah. I actually just saw him for a brief second, and his wife in Texas. We were there for a funeral, unfortunately, but the Ironman Texas was ending right in front of our hotel. And we like to go at the end and watch those guys come in late
when they're exhausted and
just start running side by side and just yelling at them and trying to help them get there. Mm-hmm. It's like so inspiring and we love it. But anyway, RFK's son was there running it. He didn't come in late. He was doing really well. So anyway, we saw them running around, but you're right. he looks pretty dang good. So it's never too late to get after it. And so with that, I did want to ask you, I know you got to get off to another meeting here, but as you hear the phrase building generational health, I would love to know what that means to you and what you're doing about it.
So generational, one is focused on myself. I need to be around for my family. So that's the first step. And then secondary, how can I help my family appreciate their health so then they'll be able to participate later down the road. Doesn't do you any good to leave your kids $1 billion if they have no financial acumen. They don't have to do with the money. So same concept. I'm trying to lead by example. I invite my children to come work out with me, do everything I can. I take interest in them. My daughter Hannah, she goes to the gym. Last night, came home. What did you do, sweetie? How did you work out? What did you work on? Who did you see? I want to be involved in their health journey and show genuine interest in what they're doing. Luke, how was school today? Sweet, dude. That's awesome. Like, what did you do? And when he talks about weights or the basketball, what did you do? What plays? I want to participate and show actual interest in them and what they're doing, so that it is that conversation about being healthy is a normal part of our everyday life. It's not, now we're going to push pause. It's time to be spiritual in our house. No, spirituality runs throughout our house. Being healthy runs throughout our house. And it all starts with us taking the lead, making the decision that I'm going to stop being selfish. I'm going to put them first by making sure I'm available to provide for them for a long time to come.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming in. Some really cool stories, a lot of great insight that came from it, obviously, and a lot to learn from you. And I do look up to you. You're a friend, but also a mentor. And I love you, man.
I love you too. Appreciate it. I'm so excited with what you've done. I mean, watching your transition from previous to what you have going on now with Eva, I am all behind Team Colby. I'm so excited. We cheer you on. Not to mention you're helping me stay healthy, which is phenomenal. For those that don't know, Colby is a specimen of when it comes to health. I've always looked up to him and said, dude, if I could have what he has, it'll be good. And Colby said, you can just do these things. And so it's been fun following your workouts that you post. Keep posting them. One of these days I'll do a Murph with you.
It's coming up.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Let's do it.
I actually think I could do it this year.
Well,
I'm in the shape that I could not just complete it, but I could compete with you.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
It's coming up. Memorial Day. Bro. Let's go. All right, man. Thanks again for coming in.
You got it, brother. Thank you.